The Avanti Oxbridge Symposium is for the next generation of thinkers and leaders. We're bringing together lecturers from Oxford and Cambridge universities to provide students a taste of what Oxbridge education is all about. That's lectures, but also the unique tutorial style of sessions where students spend time one-to-one and in small groups with those lecturers, providing challenging and engaging discussions, debates, presentations that enable students to experience what it means to attend an Oxbridge session.
My name is Hina, and I work in the fields of Islamic theology, and I also look at parallels with Hindu theology. I'm really interested in what we can call big philosophical questions, and I think every religious tradition in their own distinctive way tries to answer these big philosophical questions. So, for instance, who or what is God? What is the nature of the self? How do we align the self with God? And how do we live well? How do we live justly, truthfully, beautifully? And these are all questions that religious traditions answer in their distinctive ways, but ultimately the quest is shared, right? So really I want students to kind of get behind the specificities of their distinctive tradition and think, what are the bigger impulses and questions that are animating the specific stances that their religions take on these questions?
I'm Rembert Lutjeharms. I'm a fellow at the Oxford Centre for Hindu Studies and research lecturer in Hindu Studies at the Faculty of Theology and Religion of the University of Oxford. In some ways, to learn how to do something is by doing it in a sense. So to learn how to think, you might say, well, it's to just think, but the best way to learn how to think is to engage with somebody else and think things through with them. And so it's in dialogue and in conversation where you have your ideas and that then get challenged or sort of exposed to different ideas from somebody else that you're in dialogue with. And that's, I think that's both the format of education in Oxford, where the primary way in which the education happens is not in lectures where somebody sort of talks to you, but actually is in tutorials where you have a conversation with your tutor. And that's also the traditional form of learning in India, where you learn, with the guru, where you're not a passive listener, but you're engaged in conversation.
My name is Ankur Barua, and I'm based at the Faculty of Divinity, University of Cambridge, and there I teach and research the field of Hindu studies and more broadly religious interactions in South Asia. So often in a standard classroom scenario, students may not quite have the time or the opportunity to have straightforward, frank, critical discussions with teachers and with their own friends. So here what we do is that people like me, we give them short lectures, and then we divide people into smaller groups so that we can have some quite focused and intense discussions and debates about specific questions. So here's one more question that we have been discussing today. Can we find any meaning, any significance in the darkness of absence? Or a slightly different formulation is, when we are happy, we usually don't ask profound questions about the meaning of life. But usually when we are sad, when we are depressed, we start asking questions about why. And what does it say about us as human beings?
This experience has changed the way I see the world because it's made me really understand how much I don't know and how much there is still out there for me to learn. And seeing even adults having so many deep questions has made me realize that my whole life will be a quest for knowledge.
I think for me what was quite valuable from this retreat was learning about kind of what critical thinking is, and I've learned that it's kind of about putting aside all of your biases, your opinions, your beliefs, and kind of trying to fully immerse yourself in an idea that's different from your own. And I think that can be quite valuable because understanding every perspective can make you more likely to make an informed judgment rather than kind of a biased one. And I think that was quite insightful for me.
I think this trip has really allowed me to feel more confident and excited about applying to Oxford for university, which is something I'm really looking forward to. And the trip's given me a real taster for as to what life would be like in those lectures and in those discussions and tutorials, and a really different dynamic of learning and education. which fingers crossed, hopefully I'll look forward to being a part of when I start university.
I think this retreat did make Oxford and Cambridge feel more accessible to me, because I feel like having access to these lecturers which have like so much knowledge in their fields, and also just like having one-on-one conversations with other people like graduates and like people who are going through similar stuff, really did help me like kind of have more insight into how to tailor stuff like my personal statement, interviews, etc.
I think in a world full of noise and quick opinions, young people need a space to just pause and think. And this kind of experience helps them to ask smarter questions, rethink what they think they know and believe, and discover their own unique voice. This isn't like any other average trip that you'd have at school. It's an immersion into big ideas. Students aren't passive listeners here. They are thinkers, they're challengers, they are leaders in the making. They get to learn with professors, not just from them.
The symposium gives students a taste of what an Oxbridge education is all about. The lectures, but also the unique Oxbridge tutorial style where students spend sessions one-to-one or in small groups with those lecturers. We've been running the symposium for 2 years just for Avanti students, and for the first time we are now opening applications to those individuals who want to apply from outside of Avanti. This is an incredible opportunity and I hope you make the most of it.